Mother-in-law called the police due to tummy time. Hello all, I am OOP. I decided to post my own update because I am an avid reader. Note, I speak enough Spanish to have basic conversations with MIL, but my wife's mom only speaks Spanish, so there is a language barrier to all of our interactions. So if it seems like some of the things I said to MIL are like a little kid talking to someone, that's why. Usually my wife just translates when we are in the same room. I really can't believe it, but my MIL claims my wife and I are using our baby since he fusses while on his tummy. Our doctor said he needs more tummy time for his flat spot, to strengthen his muscle, as well as to help him roll over. He doesn't like tummy time, but it's not like he even gets to the point of crying. He just makes uncomfortable noises. We tried explaining this to MIL, but she keeps claiming we are forcing the baby and using him. MIL has been living with us the last few months, and things have gone great. She graciously agreed to provide free childcare for 3 months. I cooked her dinner or made her lunch, and we bought her groceries. I tried my best to make her feel welcome during her stay. MIL lives with Phil on the West Coast, so we paid for her plane ticket here. Phil stayed on the West Coast because my wife does not like him. This latest event happened a week before she was scheduled to fly back home. 2 days ago, she snatched the baby from me during tummy time and said I was committing violence against him. I regretted letting her take him, but I let her. Then yesterday, she tried the same thing, and I refused to give her my baby. The thing is, I wasn't even doing tummy time. My baby fusses when he isn't doing something. He just constantly wants something. MIL heard him fussing from another room and came barging in, saying I'm using him again. I walked away from her and locked the door behind me. She pounded on the door, saying she would call the cops, and she did. I called my partner, who left work immediately and drove home. 2 policemen talked to her, and then us. I invited them in and said they could walk around. They looked around and saw an immaculately clean place, and a very happy baby. MIL had not been cleaning up the past couple days or helping with anything like she did in the past, making me think this was premeditated to try and make us look bad. But I had been cleaning behind her. MIL tried telling the cops that we were dirty because the dirty bottles and snot sucker were in the same place, that we pet the dog, then hold the baby, and that we do tummy time where the cat lays on the couch. When she told them that tummy time hurts the baby, they just said, I'm not a professional doctor. The police couldn't contain their laughter, saying it sounds like MIL thinks she is the resident expert and that they run into mothers who disagree with parenting styles a lot. I unfortunately couldn't laugh along because I was in tears explaining the situation, but it was obvious the police were on our side. The police told us the clean house does not look like an unsafe environment for the baby. They also informed us that, at this point, they were just there for a venting session with MIL and not to worry. Of course, no police report was filed. My wife had my back the whole time and kicked her mom out of our house. She had a couple hours to pack her bags, and then I drove her to a motel. She, of course, was mad but had no remorse and thinks she did nothing wrong. She doesn't have much money, so my partner and I are paying for it. We got her a flight home tomorrow. She was scheduled to fly out in a week, but we were able to change her flight for tomorrow. I'm not sure what will happen in the future, but it might be the last time MIL sees her grandchild. MIL has no idea and thinks it's her baby too. Luckily, MIL and Phil live on the other side of the country. Here's to hoping they never move here. Relevant comments. OOP's response to a comment speculating dementia. I think it is related to PTSD from domestic violence when she was raising her own kids. My wife was the youngest and didn't get abused as badly as her siblings and MIL. MIL claimed that I get angry and take it out on the baby by hurting him through tummy time. This sounds like projection to me. I have a counselor just to talk generally about life things and don't bottle up any anger like MIL says. Every time MIL hears the baby fussing from another room, she automatically assumes we are doing tummy time, even though the baby was just fussing. My guess is that something is triggering her own use. She never got counseling and is very against it. I definitely don't think it's dementia, while she seemed to be seeing red trying to get the baby from me. And I've never seen her like that. It seemed like something else. OOP note, Bill lives with MIL and Phil, and Bill says 100% it can't be dementia, so we can rule that out. OOP's response to the comment, claiming there must have been warning signs. I was trying to keep the post brief for the sake of talking about the major situation. So mother-in-law has made comments, but my wife has shut her down. She doesn't like that his pediatrician is young. She doesn't trust doctors in general, especially not young ones. She blames his having to do tummy time on the fact that we chose a young pediatrician who doesn't know anything. She doesn't trust the skin treatment method the pediatrician chose for a rash. She doesn't like that we don't give him water. But my partner just shuts her down immediately. Maybe things were just building up since she never got her way, and then it all came out. but I wouldn't say there were any arguments, it was more just little comments she made. Edit, she also hated the white noise machine and even told the police about it. The officer stayed professional, but you could tell she was holding back laughter. She also hated that we laid him down on the couch where the cat had laid down and said that was dirty. The officer just kept saying, well, I'm not an expert. The officer told my wife and me that he would have a venting session with MIL because there was clearly no child abuse occurring. About partner in all of this, why they didn't drive, why not get her an Uber? My wife said that things would have gotten heated between them, so I drove. TBH, I didn't even think about an Uber, I'm not sure why. It was an awkward ride. I recorded the entire ride because I didn't want her to lie about anything. We wanted her out immediately, and as soon as she got in the car, I was driving her away. To be honest, I didn't think she would leave without a fight, but she did. We just didn't think about the Uber, or maybe we didn't want to wait for an Uber. Hard to say in that moment. Comment to clarify tummy time fussing. He has never cried during the tummy time sessions. He makes grunting noises, but when he starts that, I move his hips and help him roll over to his back, where he is happy. The physical therapist taught us how to rotisserize to help him learn how to roll over since he still can't do that on his own. Update. An hour or so after I dropped MIL off at the motel, both my partner and I got texts from Phil, and I quote, "You can't leave my wife in a hotel. I demand you guys take her back to your house now and work out any problems or misunderstandings. If something happens to her, you are going to be responsible." And then later, he argued that we didn't explain tummy time well enough to her and said, "You guys are not geniuses and need to be empathetic." My wife immediately blocked him, but I didn't know until we discussed it later. I tried reasoning with Phil but realized it wasn't happening, so I blocked him too. The next day, the motel said I couldn't pay by phone, so I had to drive to the motel to pay for one more night. This was Saturday, and MIL's flight was Sunday. I also decided to bring MIL some snacks. She requested water, but I decided on some snacks too. Listen, y'all, I don't know why. It was a bad area of town, and I thought her walking to the gas station could be dangerous. But if it makes you feel better, while she was living with us, she bought some frozen taquitos that she told me I could eat because she didn't like them. They really weren't good. They had some unidentifiable ground chicken. Also, on Wednesday of that week, MIL and I bought good chicken taquitos from Costco. Anyway, to be petty, I put the ones she didn't like in the snack package for her. When I dropped off the care package, MIL pleaded that she wasn't really going to call Child Protective Services. I forgot to add in the original that she did threaten this. She didn't offer an apology but wanted me to tell my partner that she wasn't really going to call CPS. I said okay and left. MIL then called my partner, and I thought she was going to apologize but didn't. Instead, MIL started guilt tripping, saying she thought she wasn't treated well at our wedding a couple years ago. Somehow didn't mention it until now, and other random things. My partner hung up on her. Note, I think I forgot to mention that earlier that week, MIL told my partner that us forcing tummy time was equal to how Phil used her and her children. That really pissed off my partner, who had to witness the physical violence of Phil growing up and says that MIL did nothing then. I'm not saying the abuse is MIL's fault, but my partner says it's hypocritical and fed up of MIL to make the comparison between us and our baby. So Sunday came, and I picked MIL up and took her to the airport. On the way, I asked her if she was planning on apologizing. She said, "To who?" I said, "Both of us." She then started saying how we didn't explain tummy time well enough, and that it's our fault. So then I decided to say what I had planned. I said that this whole situation was her fault, that she put us in danger by calling the police, and that threatening to call CPS ensured she would never see her grandchild again. I told her she was not welcome in our house in the future, and if I see her again anywhere near our house, then I will call the police for trespassing. I also told her she was a bad person, which I kind of regret. MIL had tears in her eyes. I was shaking and hastily dropped her bags off for her. As I started driving away, I heard a tap on the glass. I nearly drove away with one of her bags in the back seat. So as she picked up her last bag, I called out again that she would never see her grandchild again and drove away angrily. So she is presumably back with Phil on the other side of the country. I really can't say I feel better. The rest of the day I felt just sad in general, and I'm not sure why. I haven't felt like cooking, even though I cook most days, so we ordered Chinese. It's been a couple days now, and I'm feeling slightly better, just replaying the car conversation and wishing I said even more by shaming her for guilt-tripping my partner so much. I've gotten my neighbors to help with the baby, and my partner and I found a new restaurant to try. Anyway, I did speak with my partner, and we agreed both MIL and Phil are blocked. So they are both officially blocked. We haven't heard from them, but it has only been a couple days. They probably think we are overreacting and that we will come around. But I don't think we will. My partner's brother is getting married in September, so we might have seen MIL and Phil there. Thanks for all the support. I liked responding to everyone's comments, and it feels good to be validated in my decisions. Many people said they would not have bought the hotel and plane ride for her, but I think MIL is on food stamps and quite poor. Also, she did give us childcare a few days a week for 3 months, so I am thankful for that. She saved us quite a lot of money. Lastly, she was technically a tenant, so she didn't have to leave even though it was our house. I don't know the exact tenant laws, but they vary by state here in the US. I think we did the right thing to pay for the hotel and airplane. And I still think it's funny that I gave her the taquitos. Comment warning about grandparent rights, OOP's response. I can't understand her end goal here. I think when I closed the door and locked it behind her, she saw red and called the cops. I don't think she was trying to gain custody of my kid. Luckily, it is hard to get grandparent visitation rights in my state. MIL absolutely cannot afford a lawyer. She lives on the opposite coast. She would have to take us to court, and if my wife or siblings testify about domestic violence in the home and get a police record of cops being called to their home, it would be nearly impossible for them to even get visitation rights. Update number 2. Hello all. 6 months ago, my MIL called the police because my wife and I gave my baby tummy time. In the update, I mentioned that Bill was getting married in September, which meant that my wife and I would be forced to see MIL again. The wedding happened, and here is what happened. The wedding was on the other side of the world, in the Middle East, since Bill's wife is now from there. My wife went to the wedding because it was her brother, but we decided that it would be difficult to take a baby on 3 flights, and who knows how long it would take to get there, so I stayed home with the baby. While I did want to go just to see the country and enjoy the wedding, part of me was happy not to have to see MIL. Due to finances, MIL and Phil claimed they could not afford the plane tickets or a hotel. They do live in an unsafe part of LA in a very small apartment, so I am inclined to believe them. So my wife, Bill, and Sil all chipped in for the plane ticket, and my wife and MIL shared a hotel room. And I know what you are thinking. Was there really no other option? It was just easier and more affordable not to get 2 rooms, I guess. A couple days ago, my wife texted me, "My mom apologized to you, and she wants to apologize to you," which I interpreted as my wife accepting the apology, which confused me. My wife FaceTimed me, and we talked briefly, and she said her mom wants to apologize to me. Her mom then walked over to say hello and presumably apologize, but I said, I got to go. And we ended the call. I just felt like I needed a game plan before talking to MIL. I also didn't know what apologize meant to MIL, because there is apologizing, and then there is accountability. So I texted my wife the following. Tell to write down a list of all the reasons she thinks she was wrong, then sign and date it, and mail it to me. I will review it and decide if it looks like she took responsibility. If she is not willing to, then I will not feel safe with her seeing our baby again. To my surprise, her mom agreed to do this. My plan was to have written proof of her admitting to being wrong, which I thought would be great, but to be honest, I still don't want her to see us again, and I am not ready to forgive her even with a letter. I didn't hear much else about the trip. The wedding went well, my wife enjoyed sightseeing, and my wife flew home. My wife wanted to talk about what happened with MIL's apology at the wedding. It was not what I thought. I thought her mom apologized, and my wife accepted the apology. What actually happened was that my wife went off on her mom, calling her out on many things, telling her she permanently ruined their relationship, how it was horrible that she made accusations of abuse when that's what Phil put them through, etc. Her mom continued making excuses for her behavior or saying, well, that is in the past, and I can't change that now, whenever she didn't have a good response to my wife's assertion. Her mom basically just apologized once, but never said specifics or owned up to any of the specific grievances my wife brought up. What was really interesting is that MIL claimed that when she was a child, her cousin came running into her house, and her uncle came banging on the front door looking for said cousin. And cousin was hiding. She says that traumatized her, and that might be why she thought we were using our baby. My wife says that is complete bullshit, and that Phil's domestic violence is the cause of her trauma, but she just doesn't want to admit that because they are still together. MIL also claims that my wife shouldn't be upset because Phil only physically abused her brother and sister. My wife countered by saying that she literally just gave a situation where she only witnessed something, and that affects her to this day. But again, MIL just brushed it off. So after a week or 2 goes by, her mom sends me an email. This is a direct quote. "I am sorry for what happened. On those days, as you said, I felt very tired. I hope that with time everything will be in the past." To be clear, my wife assured me that she laid out the terms very clearly and that she must write a list of everything she did wrong. She also gave MIL specifics of what I wanted her to take responsibility for, basically writing the list for her. My wife and I, of course, were not happy with the email. I don't even remember saying that MIL was tired. I have no idea where that came from. Also, sorry for what happened. She makes it seem like we had a disagreement, and we're both at fault. My wife made sure to ask me about how I felt about it, which was nice, and I let her know it wasn't what I was looking for and that it doesn't take responsibility. My wife says she is upset for me and that she is not happy about it. After another long conversation, we decided to keep her parents blocked from everything. This time I also blocked MIL's email address in addition to everything else. Last thing, Bill is now mad at MIL and Phil. My wife says her parents sent a WhatsApp message to my wife and her siblings, and it says they are in Europe, going around visiting places. So Bill and my wife are upset that they said they couldn't afford to come to his wedding, especially since they all chipped in for MIL's plane ticket. Now suddenly they flew to Europe and are traveling around just a couple weeks after the wedding. The WhatsApp message also wanted to know Bill's wife's aunt's information so they could ask to stay with her in Europe, which my Bill says he is not happy about. Bill also says the English they used is too good to be his mom, so he suspects it was Phil who actually wrote the message. IMO, this is getting into a bit of a stretch of a theory. Bill and my wife think Phil made the trip in part to somehow get back at Bill or get under his skin. Anyway, that's it. I don't really see MIL and Phil changing or taking responsibility, so I'm done waiting. They had their chance. My wife and my son will grow up with just one set of grandparents by my side. My dad goes around joking that he ate dessert. That's child abuse. Or there are 2 toys left on the ground. That's child abuse. Or whatever else it may be. Classic dad. I am still upset that my son will only have one set of grandparents, but I myself only had one as well, so I guess you just live with what you have. Thank you for watching the video.